Hi students, welcome to yet another session of my class. We are discussing Candide by Voltaire. Let us continue the summary of the novel. Chapter 15. When the Bulgars attacked the castle, the colonel was left unconscious and appeared dead. Yes, in the previous chapter, we saw that this Candide met with the old baron. That is, now he became the castle of a new place, and they met each other and exchanged their happiness after the reunion between these two people, etc. And now he told a story, that is how he escaped from the hands of Bulgars. When the Bulgars attacked the castle, the colonel was left unconscious and appeared dead. He was thrown into a cart full of corpses and taken to a Jesuit chapel for burial. Yes. When the Bulgars attacked the castle of the Baron, this colonel was left unconscious and appeared dead. And this Bulgars, they believed that he was died. So he was thrown into a cart full of corpses, means full of dead bodies, and taken to a Jesuit chapel for burial. A Jesuit priest, sprinkling holy water on the bodies, noticed the colonel's eyes moving and immediately made arrangements for the colonel's care. Yes, uh, there a Jesuit priest, he was sprinkling holy water on the bodies as a part of the funeral rituals, and suddenly he noticed that this colonel's eyes were moving and immediately made arrangements for the colonel's care. After 3 weeks, the colonel recovered completely. That is our uh, Baron. Being a very pretty boy, he earned the tender friendship of a highly regarded Jesuit and eventually became a Jesuit himself. Yes, after some time, he became a very pretty boy. He earned the tender friendship of a highly regarded Jesuit. This Jesuit is a group of highly high caste or high level religious people. A highly regarded Jesuit. He became one among them. This Jesuit group of people, this Jesuit priest, and eventually became a Jesuit himself. This Jesuit were the high class or the high standard religious group of people, and he became a Jesuit himself. And he was sent to Paraguay, where he became a colonel as well as a priest. That was his story, and he narrated this story to Candide. The colonel hopes to bring Cunegonde to Paraguay, and suddenly he suddenly he knows that this colonel knows that or knows about Cunegonde from Candide, and the colonel hopes to bring Cunegonde to Paraguay. Candide says he wishes to do the same because he plans to marry her. Suddenly, this Candide expresses his wish towards this colonel. That is, Candide says he is also willing to do the same. That means to let free Cunegonde free from the hands of that governor. Candide says he wishes to do the same because he loves her. He plans to marry her. He expressed his wish. This statement infuriates the colonel. Yes, suddenly this colonel gets infuriated because Candide expressed that he wants to marry her. As Candide is not of the nobility, yes, we know that in the first chapter itself, this Candide was banished from the castle of the Baron because he was an affair with this Cunegonde. That was the reason behind that banishment. Again he expresses that wish, and this statement infuriates the colonel as Candide is not of the nobility. Candide claims that he agrees with the Pangloss statement that all men are equal. Again he expressed that Pangloss his tutor's philosophy. What is that philosophy? He claims that he agrees with the Pangloss statement that all men are equal in this world. There is no inequality in the case of caste, class, or any other discrimination. All men are equal, and reminds the colonel how much he has done for Cunegonde. And he explained how much he has suffered for Cunegonde, or he has rescued this Cunegonde toys from different yes, uh, places from different hands, and he killed two people for Cunegonde. So he reminds the colonel how much he has done for Cunegonde and how happily she agreed to marry him. And also he expressed that yes, Cunegonde was also in love with him, and how happily she agreed to marry Candide. The colonel suddenly slaps Candide with his sword, and Candide responds by running the colonel through with his own sword. Yes, suddenly the colonel responded by slaps Candide with his sword. He did not accept that, and he gets irritated. This colonel gets irritated by the statement of Candide, and suddenly he slaps Candide with his sword, and Candide responds by running the colonel through with his own sword. Candide bursts into tears. Yes, and as a result of this sudden reaction, Candide responded by taking that sword and killed this colonel. And Candide burst into tears. Actually, it was a reflex action. Cacambo rushes into the room. Cacambo, the personal assistant of Candide, he rushes into the room. He dresses Candide in the colonel's habit. Yes, this Candide, he took the dress of this colonel and he dresses himself like the colonel, and they flee the pavilion. They escaped from that castle or pavilion. This is the, yes, summary of the 15th chapter. So what are the important elements that discussed here? What you understand? Yes, one is the resurrection. We can term it as a resurrection. That is, once we readers believe that this colonel was died. But here in the 14th chapter, readers get the notion that he was not died, and there was a reunion happened between Candide and colonel. And the second thing is the religious, that Jesuit people were regarded as a highly regarded religious people in the society, were highly accepted people in the society, that Jesuit priests. That means that religious dom that religious dominancy is here expressed through the representation of these Jesuit priests. Then another thing is the uh, aristocratic values. That is, the baron's sudden anger about Candidate's intention seems ridiculous because Candide has rescued Cunegonde twice and so many times, and he has suffered so much to get let free from the hands of other people. This Cunegonde. That is, he has suffered so much for Cunegonde to help her, to free her from their masters, etc., her masters, etc. So he has rescued Cunegonde twice, but the baron's extreme outrage is meant to satirize the aristocracy's illogical insistence on the importance of noble blood. But here we can see that this colonel, he or the baron, he insists on what, that aristocratic values on nobility, noble blood. And he, yes, this colonel slaps Candide because Candide wants to marry her, and it was against, and that decision is against his belief, this colonel's belief. That is, he strongly adheres that aristocracy's values or that nobility of blood. And here the novelist tried to satirize that notion through this incident. The baron's extreme outrage is meant to satirize the aristocracy's illogical insistence, because this Cunegonde or everyone accepts the help from a person from inferior rank. But when he expresses his wish to marry her, they changed their attitude. One of the philosophical questions explored by the novel is freedom of will. So these are the important things that here expressed in the chapter 15. That is, he mainly criticized or satirized that aristocracy, that values, the aristocratic values, as well as nobility of blood on that nobility, noble blood. Then also that religious dominancy by representing this Jesuit or that group of people, because they were highly regarded or highly acceptable people in the society. I think all of you understand this chapter. Then chapter 16. Yes. Candide and Cacambo end up in a strange country. That is, they escaped from the pavilion of that colonel with the help of colonel's dress. And Candide and Cacambo end up in a strange country with no roads. They see two naked women running in a meadow, pursued by two monkeys biting at their legs. They see one uh, scene, that is, two naked women running in a meadow, pursued by two monkeys biting at their legs. Candide hopes he can rescue the women. Yes, suddenly this Candide thinks that this monkeys, they are biting these women's legs. So Candide hopes he can rescue these women and gain their assistance. And so he kills the monkeys. However, instead of being grateful, the women fall to the ground and weep over the dead monkeys. Suddenly, instead of being grateful, the women fall to the ground and they were weeping over the dead monkeys. Cacambo informs Candide that the monkeys were the women's lovers. Actually, Candide hopes he can rescue these women from the monkeys, but the result is entirely opposite. Instead of being grateful, the women fall to the ground and weep over the monkeys. That means these monkeys were the women's lovers. Candide and Cacambo hide in a thicket where they fall asleep. Yes, they suddenly escaped from that place and they hide in a thicket and where they fall asleep. They awaken to find themselves bound and surrounded by a tribe of fierce natives known as Biglucks. And after some time, they awaken from the sleep and to find out themselves bound and surrounded by a tribe of fierce natives. Yes, they these two, that is, this Candide and Cacambo, they were caught up by a group of tribal people or indigenous people, that tribe of fierce natives, and they were known as Biglucks. One more question may be asked. Yes, name of these tribal people, that is Biglucks. The Biglucks rejoice. Yes, they expressed happiness, excited that they are going to get revenge on the Jesuits by eating one. These tribal people, they did not value this religious customs or religious dominancy, etc. They don't know anything about that because they are indigenous people. So they rejoiced. They excited that they are going to get revenge against the Jesuits because they believe that these two people were Jesuits. And they are going to get revenge on the Jesuits by eating one among them, that is Candide or Cacambo. Cacambo tells them in their language that Candide is not a Jesuit. Finally, this Cacambo, he tells them, actually yes, he knows everything about their culture or something like that. So Cacambo tells them in their language that Candide is not a Jesuit. He explains that Candide killed a Jesuit and wore the Jesuit habit to escape. Yes, at that time, yes, we all know that he dressed in colonel's dress. Actually, colonel, he was a Jesuit. Colonel, in the previous chapter, he became a Jesuit, or he was one among the Jesuits. And here he explains, this Cacambo explained to these tribal people that Candide killed a Jesuit and wore the Jesuit dress for escape, wore the Jesuit habit to escape, and he was not a Jesuit. He urges the Biglegs to take the habit to the border and ask the gods to confirm the story. And he urges the Biglux, that is Kakambo, to take that dress to the border and ask the gods to confirm the story. Is it right or wrong? You can confirm this story. And the Biglux do so and discover that Kakambo is telling the truth. And this Biglux find out that, yes, Kakambo is telling the truth. They show Candide and Kakambo the greatest hospitality and accompany them to the edge of their territory. And these tribal people, they show Candide and Kakambo the greatest hospitality and accompany them to the edge of their territory, edge of their territory. And Candide affirms his faith in the perfection of the world. And once again, he um, strongly adheres that Pangloss philosophy of optimism. He affirms his faith in the perfection of the world. Here, what are the important elements discussed in this chapter 16? Yes, though Candide has good intentions, his ignorance of the land causes him to kill the lovers of the two women. Actually, his intention was good, this Candide. Though Candide has good intentions, his ignorance of the land that causes him to kill the lovers of the two women. He resembles European missionaries who intended to help indigenous peoples but ended up doing terrible harm because of their ignorance of local customs. Yes, he resembles or he um, works like a European missionaries who intended to help these tribal people but ended up doing terrible harm because of their ignorance of local customs. The sudden change of attitude by the Aurelians or the Biglugs marks the importance placed on religious affiliation. Yes, the sudden change of attitude by these Biglugs, this group of tribal people, that marks the importance placed on religious affiliation. They did not value, they did not consider Jesuits. So they rejoiced and excited that they are going to get revenge on Jesuits by eating one among them because they believed that they are Jesuits. Candide and Kakambo do not prove that they are innocent of murdering the monkeys, and at last they, yes, allowed them to go away or leave that country. Why? Because they understand or they find out, they discover that this Kakambo and Candide is not, they are not Jesuits, and Kakambo is telling the truth. They find out that. And Candide and Kakambo do not prove that they are innocent of murdering the monkeys. That is the point here. At last, at last, they decided that this tribal people, they decided to set free these people. But here, Candide and Kakambo do not prove that they are innocent of murdering the monkeys, only that they are not Jesuits. Why? Why they allowed them to leave that country? Because they believed that they are not Jesuits. It is not because of their innocence. Actually, Candide did one crime there. These monkeys were the lovers of two women, and Candide killed these monkeys. Here, Candide and Kakambo do not prove that they are innocent of murdering the monkeys. Actually, the crime is that, but they did not prove that they are innocent of murdering or they were innocent of murdering the monkeys. And only that they are trying to prove that they are not Jesuits. And for this small difference of sect, they are forgiven. Yes, only. And for this small difference of attitude, that difference of sect, they are forgiven. Yes, that means they did not give much importance or much respect to that Jesuit or that religious affiliation. So here, with the help of these incidents or these statements, that novelist is trying to mock the importance placed on religious affiliation. I think all of you understand this chapter. Next is the 17. Yes. Cacambo and Candide continue to travel, but their horses die and their food runs out. They find an abandoned canoe and row down a river, hoping to find signs of civilization. Yes, Cacambo and Candide, they continue. Yes, they left that country, and this Cacambo and Candide, they continue to travel, but their horses die and their food runs out. It is almost empty. They find an abandoned canoe and row down a river, hoping to find signs of civilization. After a day, their canoe smashes against some rocks. After a day, their canoe smashes against some rocks. Cacambo and Candide make their way to a village. They reach a new place where they find children playing with emeralds, rubies, and diamonds. Yes, that is the another thing. There they find that children playing with the precious stones like emeralds, rubies, and diamonds. When the village schoolmaster calls the children, they leave the jewels on the ground. Yes. When the village schoolmaster calls the children back, they leave the jewels on the ground like pebbles. Candide tries to give the jewels to the schoolmaster. Candide was surprised because they leave or they throw these jewels on the ground like pebbles. They did not value these precious stones, and Candide tries to pick up these jewels and trying to give the jewels to the schoolmaster. But the schoolmaster merely throws them back to the ground and simply smiling towards the candidate. Cacambo and Candide visit the village inn. Next, they visited a village inn which looks like a European palace. Yes, that village inn, that is, which looks like this inn was looking like a European palace, and the people inside speak Cacambo's native language. Cacambo and Candide eat a grand meal from the inn and try to pay for it with two large gold pieces. Yes, they eat a grand meal from that village and try to pay for that meal with the two large gold pieces they picked up off the ground. Yes, because so many precious stones were there. So they picked the two large gold pieces and they tried to pay for their grand meal with these two large gold pieces. The landlord laughs at them. Suddenly, the landlord laughs at them for trying to give him pebbles. He considered these two large pieces as just pebbles. And this landlord laughs at them, Candide, and they laughs at Candide and Cacambo, trying to give him pebbles. Moreover, the government maintains all inns for free, and moreover, that the landlords explain that yes, the government maintains all village inns for free service. And suddenly, Candide believes that this is the place in the world where everything is for the best. Yes. He believed that Pangloss philosophy is true, and this is the right place in the world where everything is for the best. Yes. Here, a lack of concern over money and valuables, and a remote and inaccessible location were both considered in Voltaire's time to be necessary aspects of a utopia or perfect society. Here we can see a utopian society. They did not consider these precious stones or other diamonds or gold or rubies as valuable or something like that. And moreover, in almost every other place, Candide has looked for hospitality. Yes, he traveled so many places candidate, and in almost every other place candidate has looked for hospitality. He has been tricked or robbed by the Bulgarians at the inn in Germany, by the friar at the inn in Spain, and by Don Fernando in Buenos Aires. For the first time, there seems to be no catch, and so for this and other reasons. Yes, in almost every other place, candidate has looked for hospitality, and he did not get that hospitality from any place, but here he gets that hospitality. That is, government maintains all inns for free and gave him a good grand meal. Yes, in all other places, in every other place, candidate, in almost every other place, candidate has looked for hospitality. That is, by the and he has been tricked or robbed for his existence by the Bulgarians at the inn in Germany, by the friar at the inn in Spain, and by Don Fernando in Buenos Aires. And for first time, there seems to be no catch, and for this and other reasons, and candidate concludes that this must be the best of all possible worlds that Pangloss spoke out. Yes, he believes that once again he affirms or he strongly emphasizes that philosophy of optimism, Pangloss philosophy of optimism, that this is the place in the world where everything is for the best. And a lack of concern over money and valuables, and a remote and inaccessible location were both considered in Voltaire's time to be necessary aspects of a utopia or perfect society. It's during his lifetime, that is our writer's time, Voltaire's time, these two things, that is a lack of concern over money and valuables, and the second one is a remote and inaccessible location, that were both considered to be necessary aspects of a utopia or perfect society. Actually, the word utopia was coined by Sir Thomas More in his book of the same name, Utopia, and could be translated as both no place and a good place. That is the meaning of the word utopia. And here we can see that utopian ideals here in this place. That is, they reached a new village. And what is their attitude, etc. So these are the important things that our novelist discussed in this chapter. I think all of you understand this session. There is a homework for you, and the homework is write a critical note on the three chapters. Critical note on the three chapters, that is chapter 15, 16, and 17. Write your homework and send back to me. Thank you. Have a nice day. See you again.